Hey guys, and welcome to my new video. This video is the first part of a 4-part series of the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism. This one is on courage or fortitude. I am the disabled Stoic, and let's get right into the video. So what is courage or fortitude, whatever you want to call it? So the definition on Google is the ability to do something that frightens one, or strength in the face of pain or grief. Well, the Stoic Cicero defines it as a courageous spirit in a human who has not yet attained perfection, and ideal wisdom is generally too impetuous. Ernest Hemingway describes it as courage is grace under pressure. To the Stoics, courage or fortitude is doing the right thing, doing what we need to do for ourselves even if we're terrified, standing up for what's right even if we're the only one standing. So, why do we need courage or fortitude? We need it to do the right thing when wrong is being done, to make it through adversity, to get what we want out of life. We need to go out there and have the courage to go for it. It's all well and good knowing what we want, but if we don't actually go out and get what we want and work hard for it, then we won't get it. We need courage for when we're scared, for when we're stuck, for when we face obstacles. And there's a really good book that I'll put in the description. There are 2 actually. One's called The Obstacle is the Way, about making it through adversities. The other one is called Courage is Calling, and it's all about courage. And they're both by Ryan Holiday. So, examples of fortitude. Cato's courageous suicide. So, Cato, which there will be a video on him in the future, was Julius Caesar's most vocal and integral opponent, and he is known as the only man who nearly defeated Julius Caesar. So, a brief history. Cato did everything in his power to stop Caesar's every move. In 49 BC, Caesar and the 13th Roman Legion crossed the Rubicon and attempted to take the power from the Senate and destroy the Republic, something which Cato warned everyone of 4 years prior. The Roman Civil War, also known as Caesar's Civil War, followed, and Cato, the Senate, and Pompey's, who is Cnaeus Pompeius Magnus, if I'm saying that right at all, their armies were overpowered by Caesar and the Roman Legion, ending the Roman Republic and starting the age of the Roman Empire. In 46 BC, Cato was in Utica in northern Africa with his armies defeated and men slaughtered. Caesar offered to pardon Cato. Most people would take this offer for freedom, even if it was offered by a terrible man. But Cato refused, and instead killed himself with a dagger, one final last stand against Caesar. Cato would rather be dead than be a slave under Julius Caesar. This courageous suicide is an extreme but important example of the fortitude it takes to stand against what isn't right, even if it's against one of the most powerful men in the world. Cato knew that Caesar often spared his enemies to legitimize his dictatorship, but Cato wasn't going to be a part of it. He took a stand by sacrificing his life, thus Caesar couldn't use his death as propaganda for his own dictatorship. He saw doing everything he can to stop Caesar as a virtuous thing. So, more examples of courage. Facing a choice. So let's say you're faced with a choice. Perhaps a choice between two difficult things, where without one it would drastically change your life, without one or the other. You're probably stuck and are procrastinating your choice because you want everything to remain the same, which is obviously a natural reaction. Perhaps you're scared about the choice, but once you've accepted that things are always going to change, you make a choice even though you're scared. After some time, you realise that the thing you're now about, an object or a person, isn't in your mind, and you can in fact live without it or them. I've faced this choice many times before, which was mainly recently. I've had to cut off one of my best and longest friends because he wasn't a good person, it turns out. He did some things that I didn't quite like. He did things that hurt my other friends, and he just wasn't a nice person to talk to in the end. It's hard, but you soon realise that getting past it isn't the hardest thing, but the choice is the hardest thing, a choice to put yourself first. But once we start putting ourselves first, that's what gives us courage to do it more and more. A quote now. Let us meet with bravery, whatever may befall us. Never feel a shudder at the thought of being wounded or of being made a prisoner. Seneca, in the Letters from a Stoic. No matter what happens to us, big or small, we must maintain our fortitude, the bravery to make the right choice, to put ourselves first, to do what others won't. Bravery takes many forms, being the only one to stand up against the most powerful person in the world, for example. But bravery is also putting yourself first, talking to someone about your troubles. That is bravery right there. No matter how big or small it seems, bravery, courage, and fortitude is always needed. Another quote. We can choose courage or we can choose comfort, but we can't have both, not at the same time, which was said by Brené Brown. Courage is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable having to keep moving forward when you're still scared, having to make a difficult choice. But it's this discomfort that makes us relieved when we finally come out on top and are comfortable with ourselves. It may take time, but we all will get there in the end. If courage was uncomfortable, we wouldn't think carefully about the next steps. So you're not weak for feeling stuck or scared. You're just a human being going through a difficult time. If we keep courage dear to our heart and practice it, we all will be okay in the end. Another quote. When it feels scary to jump, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life, which was said by the character Abel Morales in the movie Most Violent Year. When you're scared, don't just wallow in it. That's the worst thing to do. Use that feeling as drive to do the thing you need to do. Being scared is a natural feeling to have. But ask yourself, what are you most scared of? The event, the consequences, or are you scared of what other people will think about your choice? Whenever you're scared, just remember how you will feel once you have done the right thing. So, how do we have fortitude? Be brave, even when you're scared. It's easier said than done. But once we start practicing it, and more we practice it, it gets easier. Talk to people who can help you, either that be a therapist, a parent, a friend, whoever. Do the right thing. We all know what it is. We all know instinctively what the right thing is to do. But most of the time, it's the hardest thing to do because the wrong thing to do is often the most popular thing, and we want to stand with the crowd, not against it. But once you stand against the crowd and do the right thing, then people will soon realise you're standing for the greater good. Think about your well-being. You can't have bravery if you're not in a good mental state and if you don't have a good well-being. Remember, if we keep courage in our heart and always try our best, we'll be okay in the end. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next video. The cardinal virtues, discipline or temperance or moderation or whatever you want to call it. And the recommended reading, Courage is Calling by Ryan Holiday, which I'll put in the description. And Obstacles Away, which I'll also put in the description. And stay stoic.